I've been thinking a lot about how we move through big life changes, and I don't think we talk nearly enough about it. Everyone knows how to talk about surviving, what it looks like, how it feels, how to get to the other side of the next challenge of the day. But what I'm talking about here is what happens years later when the kids are grown and the caregiving has ended and major life changes have finally settled down and become normal and comfortable and routine. I'm talking about all the long lists of daily items that have consumed so much of your life finally calming down. A lot of people imagine that it's relief or a slower, more enjoyable pace of life that arrives, and sometimes it does. But sometimes something else happens. You may find yourself standing in the middle of a life you worked so hard to create and suddenly realize you don't know what to do with all that space. For years or maybe even decades, your mind has just been on full blast, occupied with everything. Details about things you need to plan for, things you have to worry about and anticipate for, someone who needed you, or problems to solve, or situations to manage. Lots and lots of fires to put out, and then one day there just isn't, or at least not in the same way. The thing is that those habits that got you through all those things are going to remain long after those circumstances that brought them into your life. Your mind is still scanning, your body is still bracing, and part of you is waiting for the phone to ring or for the next problem to appear or for something to happen that requires immediate action and attention. I've watched so many women move through this season of life, and what strikes me is they often believe that something is wrong with them. They wonder why they can't relax or why they can't enjoy the freedom they work so hard for, why they feel restless or unmotivated, and sometimes even they feel lost. But I don't think it's a lack of motivation. I think it's something more along the lines of grief. For many women, being prepared and being ready and being on and available became their identity. They were the woman who remembered everything, the woman who held it all together, the one that people could rely on, the one who could handle any situation no matter what it was. And that part of them wasn't all bad. In fact, it was very useful and helpful in life. And it was often really admired, praised, needed, and even loved and appreciated, which means that setting it down isn't always a relief. Sometimes it feels like you're losing a beloved and praiseworthy part of yourself, and that is a very different thing than simply learning to relax. I sometimes wonder if healing in this season of life is less about fixing ourselves and more about getting acquainted with ourselves again, about discovering who we are when survival's no longer a primary occupation, and about learning that our worth was never tied to how much we carried. Most of all, I wonder if it's about allowing ourselves, maybe for the first time in a very long time, to be curious about what we want.